Sama from ANTT Robotics and welcome to the very last episode of IoT Hacks. Well, it's been a great time with you guys, but yeah, we're going to end the series after this episode and we're going to come back with another new series. So that's pretty much it. Well, what we're going to do today in this 10th episode, we're going to make a data logger. Well, what is a data logger or what is a data logger? Well, let's say you want to store your all your data, like from what we have been doing from day 1 to like the last project 9. Alright, so you want to store your, for example, the weather station data. You want to store all of these sensor data, but you don't want to store it online, but you want to store it offline in an SD card. So you can also store it when there is no internet. To do that, we're going to need a micro SD card. Well, it's a 4G micro SD card, and we're also going to need the School of IoT board, of course, and we're going to need the things we use from the mini weather station episode. We're going to use all these things, this temperature, light sensor, and also this smoke sensor. Well, that's pretty much it. Now let's say, why do we actually need to store data offline when there is no internet? Well, you can use this data to create another project. You can use this data to monitor other stuff. You can use it actually as a backup. So let's just go and assemble this weather station, and then we're going to just show you how to do that using our code. So let's take this thing. First off, we're going to need these two sensors, and if you remember in the previous video, we have already used this smoke sensor and also this temperature and humidity sensor, and we have another new sensor today for us. Well, it's an LDR and it means light dependent resistor. Well, it's a resistor which is dependent on light. So it gives us values, and we can store these values in our server, or we can also set these values in our code to do some actions. So let's make the connections. Let's see the circuit first. Well, alright. Well, we're seeing circuit right now. Okay, so according to the circuit, it's a very simple connection. We're going to take our LDR. We're going to take these two wires. We're also going to take the DHT sensor and the smoke sensor, and we're going to need other jumper wires. So let's connect the smoke sensor first. Let's see the connection of smoke sensor. It's IoT 39. So if you remember the smoke sensor, it has 4 pins. We're going to use 3 pins from it. We're going to use ground, VCC, and analog inputs. So let's connect it with smoke sensor 39. Where's 39 go? It is. Then we're going to connect it with GND, the ground pin. Ground pin, and now we're going to connect it with the 5-volt pin. So you can also connect it with 3.3 volts pin, but I'm just connecting with 5 volts. So we have connected the VCC with the power pins. Now our smoke sensor setup is complete. Let's connect the temperature and humidity sensor. Well, it has 3 pins: VCC, ground, and it's called the data pin. So if you don't know what data pin is, it just gives the data through this wire. So let's connect the pins. It's going to be 5 volts. Alright, then now we're going to connect it with GND, the ground pin. So let's do that, and now we're going to connect it with 15. So let's see where the temperature sensor is. Well, it's reached pin 15. Alright, let's connect with pin 15. So there it is. We have connected with pin 15, and we're done. So 2 of our sensors are finished setting up. Now we're going to connect the LDR. So let's get this out of here. Now let's focus on this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a node-to-node pin. We're going to connect it in the middle of the resistor and the LDR. Now we're going to connect this with, let's see where the LDR is connected to. It's connected with 34. So R2034. So, and now we're going to connect it with our ground and power. So to do that, we're going to, well, it's not male, it's not female, but we're going to connect our ground. Well, the ground is supposed to be black, so we will connect our ground in. Alright, now we're going to connect our this with 3.3 volts. Or you can connect it with another voltage, but LDR can take 3.3 volts, so yeah. And now we're going to connect it with ground in. Alright. And another fun fact, the LDR is also called the light sensor. So an LDR is also known as the light sensor because it can detect light, so because it's a light dependent resistor. Well, talking of that, our circuit is totally complex. Well, we have our mini weather station from an earlier project, and we're going to use it for the data logger project as an example. Well, we have all our connections set up already. Now the only thing we're going to need is an SD card. So this micro SD card is 4 GB, and if you look closely on in the School of IoT board, you can see that there is an SD card holder, micro SD card holder. So let's take this SD card and slide it in just like that. Okay, it's done. Well, voila, we have it. Now we're going to just upload our code. Now let's upload the code. We have our cable here. Then connect it. Alright, the connection is went perfectly. The LEDs are blinking. Now we have our code here. And we're just going to upload it. So it's uploading. Now this data logger is just basically what it's going to do is it's going to take the data from the sensors and it's just going to store it in the memory card. So yeah, it's going to also work offline. So our code is uploading and it's uploaded. Let's take this out. And now let's move on to the software part and check our results. So let's set up our dashboard. Well, just to let you know, the dashboard setup for this project is by far the easiest because we're not going to add any actions, we're just going to add triggers. So let's get started. Let's name our equipment, it's weather station, description, so for the project 5, an icon, let's give a nice icon in here. Alright, now we're just going to add triggers because we don't have any actions or anything to do, we're just going to see values. So let's just go to our code and see what are the triggers named. So it's named temperature. Let's copy this. And then we're going to paste it here. Another trigger, and it is humidity. Let's copy it also. Paste it. We have smoke. Let's copy it here. And also paste it. And finally we have light. So let's paste it, and our equipment is done. It's just as that easy. It's just easy. Like it's literally the easiest one by far. Now we're going to register this thing. Let's find it where it is, and we have found it. So let's add it to registers and name it weather station. So after we are done naming it, let's go to dashboard and we're going to DAG field values. So it totally depends on what you want, or whether you want to do pie charts with it, whether you want to do bar charts with it, but we're going to add field values. So let's add 4 field values, and 1, 2, 3. Alright, so we have 4 field values, and now we're going to name them. So the first one was temperature. So let's select temperature, copy it, and paste it in here. The history is weather station, temperature, field value is 0. Same goes for here, humidity. We just continue this with all of it. Alright, our setup is now complete, so we just need to power on the School of IoT and we're good to go.
Alright, our service is done, so now we're just going to go on to tasting. So our SD card, it's inserted, everything is done. Now let's just give some random values. So let's take out our lighter, good old friend, give some gas value, and let's get a bit of heat. Never mind. So I guess it should be enough to see how much data there is. So let's now just disconnect this thing. So our data has already been logged, like up till now. Now we're just going to connect it with our SD card. Alright, that's done. So here we have it. Now remember, this data is stored in as a text file, so you can basically kind of copy and paste it on Excel or whatever you want in any kind of spreadsheet, and then make those fancy charts and everything else. So data logging is a very useful thing when you're offline, because you don't want to waste your GBs, so it's pretty good. And this pretty much concludes the whole series. Well, I didn't even realize that it was going so fast, and it's kind of a surreal experience. So this covers all our episodes of IoT Hacks. We have done all the 10 projects. We have shown you everything that you can do with School of IoT, and let me tell you, the next things you can do with this is only limited by your imagination. Alright, it's limited by your imagination, it's limited by your if you think that you can control some fancy drones or rockets with it, well, you can do it with School of IoT. And thanks to my producers and directors for going through all this. So yeah, thank you, production crew. You have my regards, and yeah, see you next time in another new series where I will be again coming and showing you a lot of things you can do with NTT's very cool futuristic products. Until then, bye.